Well, it's a massive honour to be here sharing a platform with colleagues from the Green Party and the Labour Party, as well as Charles and Shirley, but actually even more so, many of you here belong to no party whatsoever. Because make no mistake that a yes vote on May the 5th will be the most important step forward in revitalising our democracy since universal suffrage in the 1920s. And back then, of course, there were legions of harumphing majors who said you couldn't trust women and you mustn't give them the vote. And it's very important to remember that those guys out there in the No campaign are the harumphing majors of 2011. Because voting yes on May the 5th will put an end to safe seats for MPs. Every MP will have to work hard for your vote, rather than being protected by a medieval voting system. Don't think the MP's expenses scandal came out of an expenses system that was wrong. No, it came out of a culture of complacency and arrogance, shored up by the fact that 2/3 of MPs have safe seats for life. Voting yes will make sure that every vote counts. The scandal of wasted votes will be changed. And what kind of democracy allows 2/3 of us to be stuck with an MP that we voted against? We have a really, really simple choice on May the 5th. Either you want change or you want the same old politics. Voting yes will be an immensely positive act. Of course, there are plenty of reasons to vote no. If you are an MP with a safe seat who doesn't want to do any work, you should vote no. If you are the proprietor of several newspapers who wants to make sure the establishment stays intact, you should vote no. If you have difficulty counting to 3, you should vote no. So there are plenty of reasons to vote no, just not any good ones. And in the absence of good reasons to vote no, we can expect the No campaign to just make stuff up. I mean, like apparently it will cost 250 million quid for these new voting machines if we vote yes, which is utter invented rubbish. There are 3 pieces of equipment needed to vote and count under AV: a pencil, a piece of paper, and a human being. The latter being very complicated, but very cheap. No offence. Another complete invention by the No campaign, of course, is that AV will lead to permanent hung parliament and the Lib Dems will become kingmakers. Well, the good news for Ed and Caroline is that is also invented cobblers as well. The only election since the war that would have resulted in a hung parliament is this one. So I assume now that they're in favour of getting rid of first past the post as well. And apparently, as John said, according to the No campaign, AV is good for the BNP, which is also a load of rubbish because, as John rightly said, Nick Griffin is voting no because he knows first past the post is his best chance of winning seats, certainly council seats. And think about it, he can win, the BNP can win on 30% of the vote under first past the post. But under AV, extremist parties are disadvantaged because people tend to either vote for extremist nutters or not. They do not tend to transfer to them as their second preference. I have yet to meet a lukewarm fascist or a lukewarm. So the No campaign is ridiculous, reactionary, and very, very well resourced. They will spend the next 5 weeks telling us that if we vote yes, your hospital will close, the police will be cut, they will be invaded by Norway or something. They will tell us anything except what positive reasons there are to vote to keep George W. Bush's favourite electoral system, because there aren't any. You know, you see those no posters out there saying how much it will cost us to have a new voting system. Are you thinking what I'm thinking? I mean, they must be absolutely desperate. They are desperate, they are rich and powerful and desperate. But above all else, it's important to remind ourselves that this is not about politicians, it's about the people. And I want to just tell you a really quick story. When I first became an MP, 6 years ago, like anybody else who's a new MP, you struggle to find your way around the Houses of Parliament. It's a complete rabbit warren. And I ended up deciding that the best way to discover my way around that great place was to basically follow one of my local primary schools on a tour. And I did the Dean Gibson School from Kendal. And we ended up in the House of Lords lobby, listening to the guide telling us all about the architecture and the history of the place and all the rest of it. Having an attention span slightly less than the average 11-year-old, I drifted off. And I was just distracted by a figure coming through the lobby to my left. It was none other than Geoffrey Howe, and I was vaguely starstruck. I thought, well, you're a chance of the Exchequer now at school. And this 11-year-old girl at the back looked at me, could see who I was distracted by, and she said, who's he? And I said, that's Geoffrey Howe. He brought down Margaret Thatcher. And she said, who's Margaret Thatcher? Which tells you a couple of things. First of all, there is justice. And secondly, if you try to leave a personal legacy, it is not only vain, it will be in vain. You will all, we will all be forgotten. What the next few generations will remember is whether we bottled this chance for change or whether we seized it. May the 5th, vote yes, seize it.